Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am a little bit late, but here I am. So this is Mental Health Talk, excuse me, with Christina McIntyre. I hope that your week was as best that it could be, and as we prepare to go into a new week, we have to try to balance some things. My topic for today is about stress because stress is a big deal. A lot of us deal with stress on a day-to-day basis. And I wanted to talk about that because stress can actually harm you. So before I get into that, um, always know that whatever you're going through, sometimes there's a lesson in it. You may not see it right away. And just keep pressing forward, even when you feel like giving up. I know at times I feel like giving up and I just find something to keep me going, right? Suicide is a real thing. A lot of people do it. Or, no, it's some of us that choose that route. And I'm trying to help people not to get to that point because life can get overwhelming. If you're ever thinking about suicide, they have a hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255, or you can visit them on suicidepreventionlifeline.org. We need you here. You're supposed to be here. Everyone has purpose and these gifts that need to be brought to place. And if you're not around, we can't see what your gift is. And I know that sometimes our mental illness can make us feel let down. So there are people there. Reach out to them. Let them know what you're going through. Sometimes it takes taking small steps, right? If you're not to the point where you want to go to see a therapist in person, there are always groups. It's the hotline. They have text therapists now. Do whatever you have to do to bring you some normalcy. Sometimes changing our environment and our surroundings can help us put us in a better place. And knowing that sometimes we can't do things right away, but start preparing for what you want your future to be, right? Um, I always say make a plan, especially when life get hectic. Make a plan so that you can um, do things a little different. For me, I'm trying to find balance now. Some things change, and so trying to find balance to be able to accomplish those things that I want to do versus those things I need to do. And sometimes life gets in the way where you can't necessarily do what you want, and you have to do what's priority first. So trying to find balance between that and setting boundaries, it's a lot to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but we must try to take care of ourselves first. And for me, the last few weeks have been very hectic, and I have been putting myself on the back burner because certain things require my priority first. But always do something every day that is for you, right? For me, I try to exercise every day because that's for me. And days when I can't, I try to do something else in place of it. Something for me. So do something. If you don't do anything, do something that's every day just for you, that just benefits you. It's okay to take care of yourself first before anyone. I don't think a lot of us think that we can't, we're supposed to, but that is the most beneficial thing that you can provide for yourself is providing self-care. Go out and take a walk, have a drink of wine, watch a movie, listen to some music, take a bath, do whatever you can that provides you some nourishment. So we're going to get into this topic for today. So how well do we manage our stress and how does it affect us? So stress is actually our response to an external stressor, right? And a lot of us undergo so much stress on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes we can prevent it and sometimes we can't. And how do you manage that? And people don't understand that too much stress can actually affect your body, and it can cause heart disease, high high blood pressure, heart attack, and ultimately death. And so we got to figure out a way how to balance stress so that we don't make ourselves worse, right? And it's hard when you have so much going on. How do you manage stress? And one thing that comes out to me really quickly is you have to set boundaries and map out a plan. And sometimes we have to eliminate certain things from our life that can be added to our stress, right? Maybe we're taking on too many roles that we need to relinquish so that our life capacity can be fulfilled, right? So that is the one thing that stuck out to me. So there are top stressors, right? The top stressors are a death of a loved one, a divorce, moving, major illness, job loss. 73% of Americans rank finances as the number one stressor. And before I read anymore, I'm going to talk about that. So finances is a big stressor, right? No, you don't need money to be happy, but you need money to survive. And when you can't provide yourself or your family financially, it definitely is a burden, right? You wonder, how am I going to be able to feed? How am I going to be able to clothe? Put a roof over our head? Mode of transportation, even if you don't have a car, you still need money to get a bus pass. Or if you do have a car, it requires money, gas, and car insurance, and being able to keep it up, especially with the rise of gas prices now. It's getting harder and harder for people to be able to provide even food. Food has risen so dramatically over the last, I would say, 6 months. It's getting harder and harder for people to be able to provide for themselves. Like, I know I'm trying to keep everything together because the way that the prices of gas and the cost of living and food, it's hard to even manage on your own, and it's putting a lot of people under strain. And what happens is, when you're under too much stress, you start to get depressed, especially if you're dealing with mental illness. But even a regular person, when you're not able to provide for yourself and your family, you start to have these negative thoughts, because it can get overwhelming. Our quality of a life is extremely important to us, and when we're not able to have the basic necessities, it affects us in a lot of different ways. And when you're under a lot of stress, a lot of other areas in your life can be affected as well. Financial stress. And I know this also well over the last 4 years about having financial stress, not being able to get those things that you need versus those things that you want. We all want things, but there is basic necessities that we have to have. And when we can't have them, we start to feel like a failure. And so those negative thoughts flood our mind. And what happens is our body reacts to those negative thoughts. So we may do things in response to the negative thinking. We may start to do things to ourselves, or we might pick up bad behaviors because of those negative thoughts that is caused by the financial stress. So definitely pay attention to that. When stress becomes overwhelming and prolonged, the risk of mental and medical problems increase. Again, stress affects your body. Your body reacts to the stress, right? If you suffer from mental health illness already, those negative thoughts increases in making mental health worse. Your body responds to stress factors, right? When you're under a lot of stress, you start having more heart palpitations. Your blood pressure rises. You're at risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. You feel let down. Your immune system gets weakened. And so now you are susceptible of getting more sick, right? Your body can't fight off of normal illness. So pay attention to how much stress that you're under. You may be sick because of the stress that you don't even realize it's. you can fight off certain things, like I do certain things to prevent illness, but at the end of the day, your body is just going to give out under too much stress. And so this is what we're trying to prevent, right? When you are under a lot of stress, a lot of times you're not getting enough rest, and rest definitely affects how you think, feel, and act. So it's important that we get our stress under control. Increased risk of anxiety and depression, substance abuse, sleep, and muscle strain. So stress affects all of these. And if you're already prone to depression, I suffer from depression, and you add stress on top of that, it just makes it that much worse. You feel overwhelmed to the point where you may turn to substance abuse, right? But at the end of the day, turning to a behavior to alleviate the stress, if it over time, it can become an addiction, and now you have more issues at hand, right? It's okay every now and then, right? For me, having a glass of I don't drink wine, but some beer or a drink can help that stress temporary, but it's not going to fix it. It's just something to take your mind off of it. And so you don't want to pick up another bad behavior in place of the stressor or trying to take it away. I get it, right? It's okay. Sometimes you have your comfort meal for stress, or a comfort slice of cake for stress, or that comfort drink for stress, but you don't want that to become the bad habit, right? For me, having a drink kind of unwind every now and then, it's fine. But I know, because I'm prone to addiction, that if I start turning to that to take away my stress, that addiction will become an habitual habit. And what happens is I'm going to start doing it every day. It's going to be a consistent habit. Now, this addiction that I pick up in addition to my stress is just going to add to more problems, because now I have to figure out a way to finance this addiction that I picked up because of my stress. So they go hand in hand. So be careful the amount of stress you have, because stress can cause an addiction. And if you're a person prone to being an addict doesn't just necessarily mean drugs or alcohol. You can be a food addict. You can be, like, let's say your anger. You can be addicted to being angry. There's a lot of different addictions, so pay attention to that. 8.3 million Americans have their mental health impacted due to stress, right? So stress already affects a lot of us. And when you suffer from mental health illness, it makes it even worse. Because when you deal with mental health illness, it's a day-to-day struggle, day-to-day fight to have some normalcy, to remain balanced. So you're adding more things on top of that increases those chances are higher. If you suffer from bipolar and schizophrenia and you're under more stress, that's going to make more episodes happen, right? So one thing, it's like a domino effect, can affect everything else. 120,000 people die every year due to work-related stress. And this is important. And I need to talk to myself about this too. A lot of us have to work to survive, right? We have to be able to provide, because we need work to have finances. But what happens is when you're overworked, underpaid, it adds more stress. You're working so much to be able to provide, but at the end of the day, the job don't care if you suffer from it. They will replace you in a minute, but we need to work in order to provide. And right now, the job market, they say, is abundant, but they have so many factors that you must fit in. A lot of jobs won't give people a chance if they don't have experiences. I'm not going to talk about, the vaccination part, because it can be a touchy topic, but there are so many stipulations with jobs now, and even at certain jobs, they work you so hard. By the end of the day, you just go home and sleep, and it becomes a repeated cycle. You don't get to enjoy life. I'm not saying that we are not supposed to work. We are. My aunt always said, if a man don't work, he don't eat. But at what point do you trade in your sanity for someone else's finances, right? But we have to work to be able to provide our life, and especially the kind of life that we want. And a lot of times we're overworking and to be able to provide, and it's taken away from our natural gifts and our abilities. But we have to be able to provide. And the way that cost is living, a lot of people are working 2 jobs, and you can even imagine, if you're working 2 jobs, when do you have time to just unwind and get to enjoy just being yourself? You don't. And so what happens when you don't have time to just enjoy just the basic of being alive? You get frustrated. And what happens is when you get frustrated, other areas of your life start to get affected. So we got to try to find balance. I know in this crazy world, it's hard to see the end result, because I'm trying to figure this out too. Like, I need to work to be able to provide, but how do I take care of my inner self, trying to provide outwardly? Long-term stress can cause increase in cortisol, which weakens your immune system, which affects your mental health. So your immune system, your body, your physical part, your emotions, your spiritual, it all affects your mental. When they are not balanced, your mental health suffers the most, because our mental drives everything else. We need to find a way to be able to provide for ourselves and to keep our stress under control so that we remain balanced. We're already dealing with a lot, having mental health illness, and now we have to worry about everything else. But that's life. I get it. But how do we reduce the stress when the world is so busy and it's becoming more demanding of us, right? With the rising of price, and that's the thing, finance is the number one. How do we be able to live in a world that is financially growing, but the funds that we need to survive aren't? It's a hectic cycle. 80% of workers reported stress. I said 99. 99% of adults, I don't know if it's a 49, I can't read my own handwriting, but let's just say there's a big number of adults that stress affect their behavior, and it does. When you're under stress, all you're worrying about is being able to take care of what you need to, but it's going to affect you in a lot of different ways. And financial stress is one of them things. Like, in all honesty, nowadays it's hard to be financially independent. You're going to have to have someone help you, because I'm starting to understand why people just link up, because it's hard to try to provide a lifestyle just on basic necessities. I don't know I'm not going to throw how much my bills for a 1-bedroom cost a month, but it's hard to provide, even, let's say, in the not so great areas. The cost of living is rising so fast that I know a lot of people are under so much stress, and we got to figure out a way to combat this. More than 75% of people report sleep problems, headaches, and tiredness. So stress can affect all of this. And I know, like, I've had headaches for like the last 3 weeks. And I know the reason why, partly due to stress. And so what we can't do is allow stress to take over. And I'm trying to say this and trying to figure out a way that we can combat this while doing what we have to. A lot of jobs are stressful, and sometimes we have to do those things that we don't want to do to be able to provide. But how can we do that and prevent it affecting us, not just physically, mentally, and emotionally as well? 49% of women and 40% of men have job-related stress. And I could kind of see this, right? I can see this from a woman perspective, because at the end of the day, you're gonna, if you have children to take care of, you're gonna make sure that your children have, especially work for yourself, and that could be a stress factor in itself. And especially if you're doing it by yourself, that puts on more stress, right? That's why I said I understand why people are partnering up. It costs $300 billion a year due to work-related stress, $190 billion in healthcare. So the stress is making it hard for not just the individual, but for society as well. So the more stress the workers are under, the more that the hospitals are getting impacted, doctors' offices are getting impacted. I'm sure that's another story, but it affects a lot of different stuff. And so now I'm going to get into, how do you manage stress? Oh man, so many ways you can, but it's a lot of ways that you can. Just trying to find something that fits in so that you can be able to deal with stress on a day-to-day basis, because the way that life is right now, it's not going to change anytime soon. So we have to figure out a way to adjust, and I'm trying to figure that out now for myself. I haven't found a way, and I'm gonna be honest, I struggle with mental health issues. I have depression and OCD, anxiety, panic, and PTSD, and I struggle on a day-to-day basis to have balance. And one thing I give to myself is the exercise. I exercise almost every day, and for me, just even 30 minutes of being stress-free. So we gotta try to find something throughout the day, even if it only takes 20-30 minutes, to take our mind completely off of everything out there, because at the end of the day, I want us to be able to live the best quality life possible that we can while we're on this earth. And time is something that we're never going to get back, so you have to put into like the type of lifestyle that you want versus the one that you need, and just trying to have a balance, trying to obtain those things that you want, because you definitely deserve to have those things that you want, and trying to find balance to be able to provide your wants and needs in a society that is the rising in prices is affecting our quality of life. So these are some ways and tips that you can manage stress. Accept your needs, recognize your triggers, right? What is causing your stress, and how can you fix it? If it's your job, it's kind of hard because you have to stay, but maybe you have to try to find a different job, temporary. And maybe if you're living in an extravagant house, maybe it's time to downsize. I wish I had the money, because I would definitely be one of those people that would get a gigantic RV and be on the road and travel, because the cost of living is not going to change. It's going to definitely continuously increase to the point where it's going to impact a lot of people's mental health. You're going to see a lot of people turn into substance abuse. You're going to see a lot of like domestic violence rise as well, because when people's finances are affected, it affects their relationships, and in turn domestic violence will rise, and that's something we are trying to prevent. Manage your time and prioritize. So you gotta take it day to day. I've been trying to do this on a day-to-day basis. I look at my day and see how I can fit some things into the time that I'm allotted, right? If I have to work, all right. For me, I started getting up just a little bit earlier, so I have time to do some things for myself, but my sleep gets affected. So trying to figure out a way to have balance can help you? What's your priorities? What must you take care of each and every day? I have to work out every day. That's a priority for me because it makes me feel better. It's good for me physically and mentally and keeping me balanced. So that's one priority. So if I'm going to include that, I don't do more than 30 minutes. All right, what else can I prioritize? I have to do these certain things. If you're a visual person, try to get a calendar and map out your month if you can and plan ahead. And if you know in your unlimited time, try to do things. And then ask yourself, are these things you're doing necessary? Can you postpone certain things? Can you put certain things off? You have to change your life in order to de-stress yourself. If you have to work at a stress demanding or a job that's very stressful, what can you do in your personal life that can kind of help that, right? We only can control the space that we're in. So let's make home as stress-free as possible. Practice relaxation. Relaxation can be many different things. It could be taking a bath. Meditation is good to reduce stress. I just bought some tea. It's supposed to help reduce stress. Find different things that can actually de-stress you. And you may have to do some research or trial and error to find something. Watching a movie can be relaxing as well. Find a funny movie, put it on. Taking a nap midday if you have time. Find different ways to experience relaxation. Exercise, that's on there as well. Exercise is important and increases your endorphins. It makes you feel good. And I know I had to squeeze out a workout today, even though my body was aching. But I took my time to get it done. But I know that's going to be beneficial in the long run. So trying to prioritize those things that can help your stress is very important as well. So if you can squeeze in some exercise throughout the day. I know people live very hectic lives. I believe exercise is very important, not just to reduce stress, but to help our bodies as well. We want to be around as long as possible, and I'm not saying everybody have to be the same size. People are beautiful in different sizes, but exercise is healthy for our hearts, right? And if you can, just get out and walk. And even if you don't have time to walk, you can do it at home. I exercise mainly at home because it's just too much time trying to go to the gym and stuff. Give yourself, at least if you don't have 30 minutes, try 15 minutes. Just make yourself a priority. And exercise can be fun. If you can afford an exercise bike or a mini treadmill, put it in your living room while you're watching a show, or if you got other things to do. You can learn how to I learned how to multitask because it's just busy, and especially if your mom doing multiple things, you definitely learn how to multitask. And give yourself that. The exercise definitely is important. You'll feel better about yourself. The way you look affects the way you feel. So for me, I try to look the best that I can. I'm not in competition with anyone. I don't compare myself to anybody. I choose to exercise because it makes me feel good. I know I'm doing something great for my body, and plus, I have a certain way that I want to look, so it's important to me as well. Eat well. So eating affects the way you feel. And this is important. I'm trying to lose a couple pounds, and I've noticed that the more stress I'm under, the more I'm prone to eat unhealthy. And I realized that the last couple of days because I've gained a pound or two back. Watch that, right? Now that I know that that's a factor, I'm going to start planning better, right? I've been packing food, but a couple of days I've been eating off. So knowing that healthy food definitely affects how you feel and can help reduce stress. So we want to plan ahead. And I know it's hard sometimes to plan ahead, but pick 1 or 2 days, right? Get yourself container sandwich bags. I have a big bag that I carry around waters and snacks with me when I'm on the road. That one, so I don't have to waste money eating out all the time. That can be costly. So do whatever you can to feed. But when you feed your body well, you feel better. So we can't control everything, but that's one thing what we can control. We can control what we put into our bodies. Get enough sleep, and this is hard, especially if you're working a lot, trying to do multiple things. I know that I need at least 6 hours. I know when I don't get 6 hours, I don't feel my best. Sometimes you might have to change things around where you have to go to bed earlier. You might have to miss out on that show. Tape it. I have trouble falling asleep. So if you know these factors about yourself, try to do different things. Drink teas, meditate, make sure that you get enough sleep, because it's important. It's vital. It's going to help you. When you don't get enough rest, it affects your immune system as well. So definitely try to fit in enough sleep. It says avoid alcohol and drugs when you're under stress, and I get it, because it can become an addiction over time. Oh, I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat. I'm stressed out, so I'm going to have this drink. So make sure that that drink that you're trying to relieve the stress this time, it doesn't become a habit. Because what happens is, let's say you're under stress every day. That's going to become your addiction, right? I'm going to turn to this. I know, because I used to drink every day to deal with stress. And I used to drink heavy. And it became an addiction. And I had to pull myself away from it. So avoid certain things if you can. And then talk to someone. We all need somebody to talk to, right? Especially when we're under stress. Sometimes having someone to just listen can be a relief in itself. If you don't have friends, I know sometimes that's the way life works. Reach out to Facebook groups. If you need to go to therapy, I urge you to go to therapy. Do whatever you can to help you find some balance and some normalcy. We only can control what we can control. Learning balance can prevent stress. Plan, meditate. It helps reduce stress. And so this is really a really good topic for today, because I'm learning how to reduce stress myself. The last few weeks for me have been really, really hectic. I really feel like I haven't had time just for myself. But definitely after doing this, I'm going to try to prioritize myself. So today, like for me, I needed to clean, but my body hurt. So I had to kind of change things up. I still got laundry to put away. I needed to clean, so I took one room and I cleaned that. And I got a couple other things to do. So they are my priority. And then I'm going to make sure tonight that I get the sleep that I need to prepare for my week, because I already know it's going to be a busy week. So taking time to plan and prioritize. Ask for help when needed. This world is hectic. It's getting busier and busier. We seem to be getting busy. And it's important. And I would say a support system as well. It's important to have a good support system while you're going through stress. It's important to have someone to help you and support you, because we can't do this by ourselves. Especially how life is working, we need someone there to help us every step of the way. So if you have someone like that, it's very good, because you need someone sometime to just, I think just the presence of someone can reduce some stress as well. So try not, especially if you have stress at the job, to take it home with you, because that could definitely affect your household. I believe in energy, right? And so negative energy from work environments can affect your home. So let's just leave that at the door. Try to find some time to unwind. And today, start planning for your future ahead. Whatever how your schedule is, map it out. Trying to find some balance for yourself to decrease the stress that you put on your body, right? We cannot control what goes on the outside, but we can control ourselves. And if your life is very stressful, find ways to decrease it. If that job is stressful, stay there. You can't quit because you need finances. Unless you have money that you can afford to do that. Try to prepare now. Start researching. If your environment is stressing you out, maybe it's time to move. Right? I know you need finances for that, but just start planning ahead to prevent yourself from getting affected by the stress. So I thank y'all all for tuning in. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, BYC Become Your C, YouTube, BYC Become Your C, TikTok, Become Your C, Instagram, Become Your C. Don't have a website now. I've been working on trying to get it up and running. I talk about chakra healing, chakra journey. If you're interested in learning about the holistic approach to mental health, you can message me as well. I have items that you can use as an aid to help you on your spiritual journey. You can message me if you're interested as well. Life is stressful. If you need to unwind, you have you want to have a conversation about your mental health issues, you can message me as well. I'm going to offer the best advice that I can. Stay tuned for some new up and coming things. I'm trying to put some things together, time permitting. And just go enjoy your day today. Make sure you take time out for yourself each and every day. Try to find some ways to de-stress your life. We need you here. You have to figure it out, because you have so many gifts that the world has yet to see, and we're not trying to allow stress to prevent us from that. So let's try to find a way that we can start to live the best quality life that we know that we can. We need things, we want things, and we desire things, and we should be able to have everything minus the stress. So enjoy today. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time.